last April, Dane County was among the first in the nation to enact a small business relief program. This was, as we all know, the beginning of the pandemic. Many businesses had to close down, and we were facing, as we are today, both a public health crisis as well as severe economic strain on our businesses and many of our workers. Dane County began this program with $800,000 in county dollars to get it started. And fortunately, the initial CARES Act was passed in the spring. And from that, we were able to put another $10 million into this program to deliver critically needed small grants, monetary grants to local small businesses. We did this through a partnership with Dane Buy Local that worked very well. Dane Buy Local did an incredible job of getting that money out into the community, into the hands of businesses who needed it very quickly. And what we saw in the spring was a great example of the type of comprehensive approach that both protects public health, our small businesses, and our workers. This was because every branch of government was pulling together and pulling their weight. We started out that way, and it was incredibly helpful. Unfortunately, in the following months, we've somewhat been left hanging by the federal government. The pandemic has raged on and gotten worse, but there's been little help on the way. But the sad truth is, because of that, it didn't have to be this hard. You know, a comprehensive public health guideline combined with adequate economic assistance to small businesses and workers could have slowed the spread of the virus as well as reduced the economic pain. Recent federal action is a step in the right direction. It's hopeful, but it's clearly not enough. Our small businesses continue to struggle and they need our help now. So in Dane County, as we wait for more relief from the federal government, and hopefully we'll see more action toward the end of the month, we will partner once again with Dane Buy Local right now to provide more interim relief to our local businesses who are struggling the most. Dane County will immediately provide an additional $4 million to be distributed to local small businesses who are in the greatest need. We know that many of our small businesses have been hit hard in the restaurant business and elsewhere, and we want to get dollars to them to help them get through this very critical time as we wait for more relief from the federal government. This $4 million will come from unallocated CARES dollars that are remaining due to some expenditures being less than anticipated by the end of the year. So our public health guidelines have been some of the most effective in the state at slowing COVID-19, but we need more help from the federal government to assist our businesses and our workers who are impacted by the pandemic. And while there are no easy answers during a pandemic, the truth is, again, it didn't have to be this hard or this painful or this divisive. We're doing our part in Dane County to slow the virus and to assist our local businesses as much as we possibly can. And while this support will be crucial to many local businesses, it's only an interim step, and we need the federal government to step up to the plate and do it now. In the meantime, we'll continue to work with our local businesses, with our local employees, and everyone in our community to do our best to both protect the public health as well as help people who are struggling economically. So now I'd like to turn it over to Colin Murray from Dane Buy Local, who will be partnering with us in administering this program. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you inviting us here today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us as well with the media. I appreciate that. You know, considering what has taken place in the last 9 or 10 months here, and the interactions that we've had with Joe and the county executive's office, we're very honored to be handling this grant program on behalf of Dane County, and honestly a little humbled as well. So it's really an honor for us to handle the first round and now the second round of dollars on behalf of small businesses. This really shows the support that Joe and the Dane County Board has for small businesses. They recognize that it's a very difficult time and how important it is for these small businesses to remain open and to be viable once we get past the pandemic. And the situation that these business owners find themselves in today is not their fault. They didn't cause anything for this to happen. and yet they have major restrictions that are put upon them that cause their functioning as a business to become very challenging, very difficult. And so these resources that are provided by the county go a long ways in trying to help support them and keep their doors open in the future. In fact, Dane County was the first government entity to join any sort of buy local group around the country. So that's really the leadership that we see from Joe that has taken place. That was what, 10 or 12 years ago that that took place, and it continues today. And we really appreciate all of the support that you've provided for Dane Buy Local and for local businesses throughout the county. So the struggles that these local businesses have are real, and they continue, but now they have a lifeline once again with the $4 million that has just been announced. And so we will be able to help out a number of local businesses in the area. We are going to focus our attention on specific categories of businesses such as retail, restaurants, gyms, fitness centers, yoga places. We're going to hear from a business owner in a moment on that. So, you know, these are some of the areas that we're going to really focus on, the ones that have been hard hit and are really feeling the most pressure as far as what's taking place now. It isn't that we wouldn't accept applications from others, but this will really be the focus of our attention, are with these particular groups that need our support and help. So once again, Joe, thank you for your leadership, not only with small businesses, but through this whole pandemic. You know, you look at the numbers that we have here in Dane County and compare it to other areas, and we're actually doing much better than a lot of areas. And it's because of your leadership that that's taking place here. So thank you on behalf of myself and all of Dane County. We really do appreciate your support, and we look forward in working on the next round of grants to be able to support our local businesses. Thank you.
Yeah, we could turn to Becky now, if you'd like to say a few words. Introduce yourself and say a few words, please. Thanks.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Becky Peterson, and I'm the owner of Kula Yoga and Wellness. I'm located in Cottage Grove, Wisconsin here. Thank you, first of all. Thank you, Mr. Parisi, for your continued support and advocacy for the small businesses here in Dane County. Thank you also, Colin and Dane Buy Local, as you continue to be a support and a voice for our small businesses here. I received a Dane Buy Local grant, and it truly was a business lifesaver for me. The application process was clear, and the distribution of the funds was very quick. This grant was one of the first lifelines that I received as a small business owner. The funds that I was allocated were used for my rent, my utilities, on my brick and mortar yoga studio, as well as technology upgrades and purchases that were needed to pivot my 100% in-person business to 100% virtual business. But beyond the monetary support this grant provided, being seen, being heard as a struggling small business was a real morale booster that I needed to continue to fight and to get creative, to shift my business in a way that allowed me to continue to offer my services in a safe and effective way. So thank you for that. These grant opportunities are a way for me to also avoid small business loans. The anxiety that comes with taking on a debt in such a volatile time is frankly more frightening than trying to make the ends meet and pay the bills. The idea of having years of debt repayments and the possibility of my business not even surviving through this really adds insult to the injury. I continue to operate my business 100% virtually, and I have not had in-person services in my studio space since March 15th. My clients, my yogis, have made it overwhelmingly clear that they want my virtual option and that I provide to continue indefinitely. And for their safety, as well as mine and my family's, That's really what I intend to do. Opportunities for grant assistance is what's helping me to keep my business and really ultimately my dream alive. So thank you again, excuse me, thank you again, Mr. Parisi. Thank you, Colin and Dane by Local, and for everyone for their support.
Becky, thank you. And thank you for being able to meet with us today and say a few words. And thank you for hanging in there. You know, I think everyone on this call agrees that it's our local businesses that truly make this community special and really are a reflection of who we are in a community. And, you know, there are no easy answers during a pandemic. As we all know, you know, people are suffering on every level, from people who have been stricken with COVID-19, who are in the hospital, to families who have lost loved ones, to our healthcare providers who are working round the clock, to our small businesses who are trying to stay open to provide a lifeline to our community, who provide employment to our workers, and to the people who have lost their jobs, hopefully temporarily, but who are nonetheless struggling. We all have to continue to come together as a community and inspire one another. And it is truly inspiring to be able to share some time with some of our small business owners and with folks like Colin and the people at Dane by Local who partner with us to move these grants out to the people who need them. We want our businesses to be able to get through this. We want them to know that we're not only with them monetarily, but we care about them and we want them to survive. We know how important these businesses are to people's livelihoods and to our community. And we're going to continue until we're through this pandemic to come together to do everything we can to support one another throughout the community. A special thanks to Colin and Becky and all of our small business owners. I mean, these two are a really great example of what this community is made of and how hardworking our people are and how people come together and will work with one another and watch out for one another until we're on the other side of this pandemic. So thank you for all you do. And thank you again, everyone, for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.